Just ahead on CTV News, truancy issues are still a big concern for county leaders.
What we're seeing is far too many of our kids who are not in school committing very serious offenses in our community.
Plus, airports are gearing up for spring break, and a local actor hits the Arena Stage Theater. All those stories and more, up next.
Good evening, I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update.
We ask for the release of all hostages and give aid to Palestine.
As we reported on Monday, Senator Benson and a host of other organizations called on Maryland lawmakers to pass a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. But the late-filed measure that Benson is requesting will likely not make it out of the Senate Rules Committee, according to Maryland Matters. It's also unlikely that the two similar resolutions will make it out of a House committee, including one filed by Delegate Ashanti Martinez that condemns Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and anti-Palestinian hate. The resolutions, which are opposed by several Jewish groups, face upcoming deadlines in order to proceed in their respective chambers. And Prince George's police are investigating a sexual assault in the unincorporated section of Hyattsville. In this surveillance video released by police, you can see the two unknown suspects following the victim as she walked in the 6,000 block of Ager Road Monday evening. The suspect sexually assaulted the victim at knife point in a wooded area. Anyone with information on the incident is asked to contact the police department's sexual assault unit at 301-772-4908. Well, Prince George's State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy is warning parents of truant students that they can be held criminally responsible if their kids are missing school for no good reason. The gym at Drew Freeman Middle School was filled with middle and high schoolers that PGCTV has deemed truant. Braveboy warned families about the risks of kids missing school. She says when her office subpoenas school records in criminal cases involving youth, they often find that the suspects were not in school or were only sporadically attending classes.
We have partnered with our school system to provide information to parents whose children are at risk of being chronically absent or chronically truant. And so those letters lay out the law, what is required in state law, that these kids attend school, that if they don't attend school, that there are criminal penalties that would attach to both them and their parents. And so we explain that very clearly, but we also say, hey, there are other options. We want you to be in school. If you or your child is having trouble meeting the requirements of the law, talk to us. Tell us what's going on. Our goal is not to lock up parents and kids over truancy. Our goal is compliance.
And Braveboy also says parents of truant students could face jail time. Well, President Biden and former President Donald Trump won commanding victories across nearly all states holding Democratic and Republican nominating contests on Super Tuesday. That increases the likelihood of a general election rematch between the two in November. Both scored wins in delegate-rich states like California, Texas, Virginia, and North Carolina. After only winning in Vermont last night, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley suspended her campaign today.
Time has now come to suspend my campaign. I said I wanted Americans to have their voices heard. I have done that. I have no regrets. And although I will no longer be a candidate, I will not stop using my voice for the things I believe in. Our national debt will eventually crush our economy. A smaller federal government is not only necessary for our freedom, it is necessary for our survival. The road to socialism is the road to ruin for America. Our Congress is dysfunctional and only getting worse. It is filled with followers, not leaders. Term limits for Washington politicians are needed now more than ever.
In her speech, she did not endorse Donald Trump, but said, quote, "It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him." Meantime, with the Maryland primary right around the corner, the Prince George's Board of Elections is in full prep mode to make sure that this election runs smoothly. The board is currently training election judges, proofing the ballots, making sure all of their equipment is working properly, and processing mail-in ballot applications.
If you request a mail-in ballot, the deadline to request a mail-in ballot is May 7th at 8 p.m. Depending on how you want it received, there are different dates as well. So if you request it and you want it sent to you electronically, it will be May 7th at 11:59 because we can get it. You can fax it to us. We can email it out to you.
And again, that deadline to submit an application for a mail-in ballot is May 7th. Primary day in the state is May 14th, with early voting taking place Thursday, May 2nd through Thursday, May 9th. Well, police were called to the 300 block of Cedar Leaf Avenue in Capitol Heights last night about 6:25. When they arrived, they found 41-year-old Aramis Dillard suffering from gunshot wounds. The victim was taken to an area hospital where he later died. No motive or suspect has been identified, and police are asking anyone with information related to the case to call the number on your screen. Well, a new legislative audit is critical of how Maryland State Police handle applications for handgun licenses and registrations. The report accuses the agency of failing to conduct sufficient quality control reviews. It also says police improperly track those reports. According to the auditors, the reviews are to be completed on a monthly basis by someone independent of the licensing process. But the report says that neither rule was followed, and currently there is a backlog and delay of reviews. State police say changes will be made, and they plan to be caught up by the end of the year. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Maryland airports will soon be getting upgrades, and the CDC wants to remind people of COVID-19 protocols. That and more after the break.
This is my house. My parents helped build it. Now we don't get wet when it rains. I don't get too hot or too cold inside. And I don't have to worry when the winds blow. This is my house.
This is my house. This is my house. This is my house. My house. My house.
I can play with my sister. I can play with my brother. I can play with my mother, my father, my family.
My family. My family. This is my house. This is my house.
I can study. I can be safe with my family. This is my house.
This is my house. This is my house. This is my house.
My house.
My house.
This is my house.
Visit Habitat.org to find out how you can help more families like mine have a safe, decent place to call home.
Welcome back. In an effort to address racial disparities, the Biden administration proposes a plan to cap credit card late fees. The new proposal would set those fees, commonly known as junk fees, to $8. Under the plan, banks would also be required to explain why the late fee charge should be more than $8. Junk fees disproportionately impact people of color. According to reports, the credit limits for people living in a majority Black or Hispanic zip code are on the average more than $4,000 lower. The proposal could save Americans about $10 billion a year. And the Biden administration is also allocating $1 billion to 85 airports nationwide to expand and upgrade terminals and other facilities. In our area, that includes more than $14 million to replace up to 14 boarding bridges at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport. Dulles is slated to receive more than $49 million, and Martin State Airport outside of Baltimore will get more than $5 million for upgrades. The grants are the first installment of $5 billion for airport projects included in the infrastructure bill that was signed into law last November. And airports nationwide are gearing up for a very busy spring break travel season. TSA officials anticipate that the volume of travelers is expected to be about 6% more than in 2023. The spring break travel season begins tomorrow, March 7th, and runs through March 25th. If you are packing liquids like sunscreen, remember that if it's over 3.4 ounces, it must be put in a checked bag. Travelers are also encouraged to enroll in TSA PreCheck to avoid the long lines. A Laurel residence, Hakes staged in D.C. Kelly Renee Armstrong is a cast member of the real-life play Tempestuous Elements at Arena Stage. She plays the character of Charlotte Fortin Grimke, the best friend of school principal Anna Julia Cooper, who fought for the right to provide her students with an advanced curriculum. Armstrong, who graduated from Bowie State University, has been acting professionally for 15 years.
I think that what I like most about acting is how much it is kind of like a mirror of human behavior and human social norms and all of those kinds of things. I like that it holds up a mirror to society and says, okay, what you see here, do you like it? Do you not like it? Can you see yourself? Is there a way? I like how it kind of prompts us to think about ourselves, right? And in that can sometimes be an agent for change. I'm not saying it's going to change the world, but I'm not saying it's not.
Tempestuous Elements runs through March 17th. For more information, you can go to arenastage.org. Well, the CDC has updated its recommendations for COVID-19 to align with treatment for other respiratory infections. While guidelines have eased, the agency says is still recommending to take safe precautions over a 5-day period following infection by limiting close contact with others and masking up in public places to lower the risk of spreading the respiratory illness. As with RSV and influenza, the CDC still suggests practicing proper hygiene, such as sanitizing and washing hands, covering coughs and sneezes, and cleaning frequently touched surfaces. And now let's check in with Simon Buggs for a preview of what's happening in sports.
What's up, sports fans? More high school playoff basketball action was played last night, and I'll have some highlights from 2 of those games. Stay right there, you don't want to miss it.
Hey, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and this is my co-star Arthur. My new movie is based on the true story of a dog who treks hundreds of miles to find someone to love him. Arthur's not alone. Best Friends Animal Society is working to make sure dogs and cats in shelters across the country find a loving home of their very own. When you adopt from a shelter or a rescue group, you are helping to save the lives of pets like Arthur and so many others. Visit bestfriends.org today and find an adoptable pet near you. That's what's up. Good job.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, Maryland lawmakers are considering legislation that could exclude certain rap lyrics from being used in court. It's known as the Protecting the Admissibility of Creative Expressions Act, or PACE. It prohibits rap lyrics from being introduced in a case unless a court finds by clear and convincing evidence that the defendant intended the expression to be literal as opposed to figurative or fictional. Now, use of rap lyrics in criminal cases is happening across the country. Delegate Marlon Ampry, the sponsor of the bill, says his main goal is to protect artists from being wrongly convicted for crimes they write about in lyrics. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for our Pet of the Week. And meet Everest and Sky. They are a bonded pair of female short-haired rabbits. They've been at the shelter since December. Animal management says that contrary to public belief, rabbits don't only eat carrots.
They eat pellets. Pellets is the main source of their diet. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of people think that it's carrots, but carrots are actually used as treats, as they're very high in sugar. So they should just be given sporadically, like as a treat.
Do they have to be adopted together, or is that just your preference?
They do not have, good question. They do not have to be adopted together. They could be adopted separately, but they are accustomed and used to living together. So I would say, why not both sisters?
And if you'd like to adopt Everest, Sky, or any of their hopping friends, you can call Animal Management at 301-780-7200.
Hey everyone, get ready because it's time for your Wednesday sports page. The Bowie High School boys basketball squad took the court last night against Broadneck for a chance to advance to the next round of the playoffs. The game did start off close as the Bulldogs were up by only a point through the first couple of minutes of the first quarter. But after this three by guard Ashanafi Stewart, the Bulldogs started to pull away. And because of shots like this layup from forward and center Nehemiah Johnson, another three-pointer courtesy of guard Sori Kargbo, and another nice finish from Johnson, Bowie led after the first quarter 16-8. Now to the second quarter, because the Bulldogs caused multiple turnovers like this one here, guard Tremaine Rolls doing a nice job of avoiding a charge and getting another bucket, and guard and forward Julian King finishing nicely over a Bruins defender, Broadneck was unable to close the gap and went into halftime down 33-19. And Bowie kept their lead, beating the Bruins 72-59. The Bulldogs' next matchup will be Meade High School on Friday. Meanwhile, over in Upper Marlboro, the Wise and Duval boys basketball teams took the court last night as well. The Pumas led a couple of minutes into the third quarter, 33-22. But the Tigers were able to shorten the deficit a little bit as this steal from forward David Nawaite, resulting in him making 2 free throws because he was fouled. This steal by guard and forward Alameen Awe, causing a layup for another guard and Amani Lett, as well as this drive and kick from Lett to Rolando Clark for an open 3, had the Tigers now down 41-33 going into the final quarter. Moving on to the final quarter, the Tigers continued to remain in striking distance as they kept the deficit at single digits for the first couple of minutes. But after this and-one layup from Jason Frost, Wise's lead went back up to double digits. And because the Pumas knocked down their free throws and made shots such as this triple from guard Javon Jones and this layup from a steal from senior guard Justin Ware, the Pumas were able to win the game 64-50. Their next opponent will be Thomas Stone on Friday. Sticking with high school basketball, Laurel took down Northwood 69-62, CMIT South fell to the North 57-41, and finally, Largo took down Gwynn Park 61-55. And the playoffs continue tonight as Bowie takes the court versus North Point. Oxon Hill will be on the road taking on St. Charles. And lastly, Flowers will try to move on when they take on Eleanor Roosevelt. Flowers and Roosevelt tip off at 7, while the rest of the games begin at 6 o'clock. And wrapping up sports, the UMD baseball team won their 4th game in a row yesterday, taking down Delaware 3-2. They will take the diamond next against the Charlotte 49ers on Friday. And that is your Wednesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. And now we're going to get a quick check on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, we have a 100% chance of rain. Tomorrow, expect light rain. It'll be partly cloudy with a high of 61. Going into the weekend, Friday, we'll have clear skies and it'll be partly sunny, a high of 58. Saturday, the rain comes back, but we will still be in the mid-50s closing out the week. Now for the community calendar in honor of Women's History Month. The Montpelier Arts Center is hosting a poetry reading tomorrow night. The reading will feature writers such as Emily Dickinson, Elizabeth Bishop, Joy Harjo, and many more. Attendees are encouraged to add their voice to a discussion of what it means to be a woman in our time, when diversity demands grace and creativity to sustain. This is a free event. However, registration is required. For more information, you can visit the website or call the number on your screen. And that wraps up our CTV News Update. Join us again tomorrow at 4:30. Have a great night.